Afternoon, everyone.
What's up?
We are very excited to be here today. Thank you to RISMedia and to Lofty, our sponsor, for a wonderful topic. We are going to jump right in, but first, we're going to have some introductions. I am Nicole Rideout Hartwick. I'm the president of Gibson Sotheby's International Realty. We're located out of Massachusetts, and we cover New Hampshire and Rhode Island as well. So we're kind of right in that New England pocket. So our sponsor spokesperson today is here from Lofty, Tyler Robertson. He is the director of brokerage growth and strategy. Tyler, can you introduce yourself for the group?
I'm Tyler Robertson. I'm begrudgingly based out of Phoenix this time of year, somehow for some reason. I worked, I guess my background is I worked at Zillow for 8 years. Don't judge me, please. And I've been at Lofty the last 3 years, and I specifically work at brokerages at scale, typically with more than 200, 300 agents, but I work with individual agents as well, just trying to understand their business, deploy strategies in this ever-evolving world of prop tech. And I'm excited about this webinar today that we're hosting.
Me too. You have a great perspective. I'm excited to dive in.
Awesome.
We're also here with Adam Gillespie from eXp Realty. Adam, can you give yourself an introduction as well?
Yeah, my name is Adam Gillespie. I'm a licensed realtor, been in business since 2017. I've since transitioned into an AI and CRM coach. I'm the founder of Apex Elite AI, where I help realtors like yourselves learn how to utilize artificial intelligence ethically and effectively, so that way you can get your time back in your business. So it's pretty much what I spend most of my time doing now is teaching on Lofty and AI, and I'm excited to chat out with you guys today because Lofty's the best, man. So
You
We
are a
didn't pay him
wealth
to
of
say that, by the
knowledge.
way.
no, they didn't pay me to say that.
I love it. Last but not least, we're here with Moore Zucker. Moore is the team lead and investment specialist at Team Denver Homes at Live Sotheby's International Realty. Hi, Moore.
Hi, Nicole. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me. My name is Moore Zucker, and I'm a team lead at Team Denver Homes. We're within Live Sotheby's. I'm based in, as you guessed, Denver, Colorado, and we specialize in hyperlocal market strategies and investment properties, as well as new construction developments.
We are going to kick off our topic. Today, we're talking about micro market mastery, how to dominate your hyperlocal markets. I have to say, we did a little discovery call and I was taking notes. That just the panelists here are an unbelievable wealth of knowledge. And I think it's such a good topic to dig into where technology can make things feel so broad. And this topic is such a perfect thing to say, okay, we can use technology, we can use all of these new tools that we have, but we're using those to dig in and focus on that, continue to focus on that micro market. And you're all doing such a great job with that. I'll kick off with a question that could go out to anyone just to start. So more broadly, national portals dominate the industry, have massive budgets and major brand recognition. How can a solo agent or team compete at the hyperlocal level?
More,
Yes,
go for it.
great. Yeah. Actually, having a massive budget and a massive online presence is not the key or the number one key to be hyper local. It's actually interacting with your local community. You don't have to have 100% market share. You just need to be involved, not just behind a screen and not just at your open house. You need to make an effort both on and off screen to interact with your community and provide valuable information that they cannot find anywhere else.
Yep, I
Love
agree.
that.
I'll jump in on that too, real quick. Yeah, guys, like think about hyper local is exactly that. You know, we're not just there to open doors for people. We need to be involved in the community. We need to be involved in letting people start to recognize us as not just a realtor, but as somebody who understands the area, who knows where the awesome places to go are, who knows what's going on in the neighborhood. And that's the key. So you can do this in person and you can do this online. So instead of thinking, oh, I need to run PPC ads and sit there and have $1,000 or $2,000 a month budget on it, then you can actually start diving into helping people understand where things are happening, why this is a good place to raise a family or whatever your market niche is, and just diving into that hyper local activity that's going on. So you become recognized as more than just somebody who's there to open up a door. Because the big problem that we have right now is that realtors are kind of frowned upon, right? Like we sit there right next to attorneys and used car salesmen. So if we take a more of a position to be that advisor and consultant about that specific area, and you drill into that area and every aspect of that area, then the portals can't compete with that, because all they're doing is listings, right? And that's not where it's all out anymore. People are wanting to go on and find out why this is a good area to be in and what there is for them to do with their families.
And I can just chime in, having worked at a national portal, the biggest one is you need a lot of budget. You need to compete with legacy agents that have been on there for years and years and years. But the one thing that they can't compete with you on necessarily on a portal like that is specificity, context, and unless they have really specific reviews, is trust for me. And I wrote down a note that I think, like, the goal is not to outspend Zillow Premier agents or Realtor.com. I think the goal is to out context them, is to be the expert in your specific niche community that you're targeting on, even if they know the median home price in a zip code, which side of the street trades differently than the other. What buyers ask after walking the neighborhood, right? What are the schools like? What's a day in the life like in this particular area? And you have that context, but you need to take it from your mind and push it out there in channels that will resonate with the people that you're targeting.
That I think you all kind of just you hit home with the fact that we always say, when our competitors, in the local market are doing a certain thing, it's kind of like shiny object. You're like, should we be doing that too, right? And it's like, no. The answer is no. You should be doing the things that you know best and the things that you do well, and continue to like hold the line. And that's all that this is, right? It's just so much new. And should I be trying this? And to your point, you don't want to be a portal. That's your superpower, is that you're not. So I think that you all sort of wrap that up nicely for people. So more just to elaborate more on your answer, what does owning a hyperlocal market realistically look like in practice? Is it a metric, a reputation, a combination, or something else entirely? And how do you know when you've arrived?
Great question. Let's go with examples, because I think that's the easiest way for people to understand. Um, for example, here are a few ways that we use the community to get business and to be known as hyperlocal. I organized a garage sale, it just happened last weekend, where I invite homeowners to sell all of their stuff all combined in one day. And then I publish a map that shows all the homes participating, and you can only find the map of homes participating on my website. So here I drive traffic of people. First of all, the homeowners that reach out to me because they want to participate in the sale. I create direct communication and outreach to them. So I don't just say, sure, join my garage sale. I go out, I drop a listing book off, I drop off maps, I introduce myself so they know who I am, they know who organized the sale. And then they can only find the homes participating on my website. So I get a lot of people that find me that way. Another community event to show you is that agents on the team sit at a coffee shop once a month or twice a month, where they buy the people the coffee in the morning. Obviously, then we organize it with the business owner. And here we form a relationship with the coffee owners, with the business owners, where they know that we're realtors and they want to work with us. So one deal I got, for example, is the son of a coffee shop owner. I helped him buy a condo. So business is interactive locally in every which way. You can do anything that you're doing online. Make sure that you're involving your community, and that also you have boots on the ground and you meet people face to face, because technology only takes you so far. It's how people know you, recognize you, and who you are is what's going to get you business long term.
I love that. And that's when you know you've arrived, right? When some of these things start creating those organic leads for you. And that's, that should really be your indicator. Adam, can you take us back to a time before hyperlocal was your, or I'm sorry, can you take us back to a time before hyperlocal was your strategy? What were you doing differently then? And what was the driving force or moment that convinced you to switch up the strategy?
It was, the shotgun blast theory, right? And some of us have maybe even heard it called the mayor campaign, where you're just kind of going out everywhere. You're trying to hit every single piece. And in my local market, Denver, the Denver metro area, we're like 50 square miles. There's a whole bunch of little towns and cities inside the metro market here. So a lot of us as realtors think, hey, we need to go in and we need to make sure that everybody in the whole area knows us. Well, when there's like 3.5 million people there, you're basically a needle in the haystack. So if you, we all used to do this. I used to do this as well. Like my website was all Denver based and everything metro. I was trying to advertise every single major city out there. And you're not only in the competition with all of the big people that are trying to advertise on Denver as well, but you're missing the opportunity to go hyper local. So as AI started becoming more of a thing, it was easier to create custom blogs that sound like ourselves, easier to create more personalized content. And then the birth of AEO and GEO came out, and it was like, well, here's a major opportunity. Instead of shotgun blasting this, let's snipe it, right? We're going to go at one target and we're going to hit it really, really hard. So now I go into my neighborhood of Arvada, which is still a pretty decent sized city. There's, a couple 100,000 people in it. But if I'm going out and focusing just on that, not that I won't do a deal with somebody in Lakewood or in Brighton or Commerce City or wherever, I'll still do business around the metro area, but my focus of advertisement is to where I live because I know it better than any of the other places in the metro area as well. And I'm hitting a smaller audience, so I don't have to do as much. And then if I just focus specifically on that, it's way, way easier for me to get found online. And then like with more strategies, being community involved, I have a little thing that I do called Let's Clean Up Arvada. We have lots of parks and trails in Arvada. We're super close to the mountains, but a lot of people leave debris behind. They leave trash. They leave their fishing gear and stuff like that. So I'll go set up a booth at the local lake right by my house, and I'll, have a sign up sheet. I'll run some ads online to have volunteers come help, and we clean up Arvada, and that gets people's attention. They're like, oh, this guy actually cares, right? And then I have conversations, I build relationships, and naturally we start finding out what people do for a business. And then that's where you can, let people know. Like, I don't tell people, hey, I'm a realtor. I tell people, hey, I help people determine where they want to spend the next chapter of their lives, right? Because there's more meaning behind it. But when you're focusing on just that hyper local area there, it's not one to many at that point in time. It's one to few. And you're way easier to be recognized. It's way easier to establish that. And that brings more business organically, naturally, just by being involved like that and focusing on one area.
I love that. It's funny. We have one of our top realtors in our company does over $100 million a year. And she started out, her why was that she was always on the road on flights. She had young kids, it was 20 years ago. And she chose her small neighborhood within the city in Boston. And it's five square miles. And she would never leave, because the whole why behind it was, I'm going to be around and I want to be in like close by home. And it might have seemed like excessive, but I'm always trying to tell that story when people are starting out, because it can be so scary. So to your point, both of you drill into these specific micro markets, but it can feel scary to a new agent that's saying, should I cast a wider net? So for a solo agent just starting out their career, Maura and Adam, how do you choose the right neighborhood or community to specialize in? And how many are too many before the strategy starts to lose power?
I can tell you that you should choose the neighborhood that you're going to be in. And it doesn't mean you have to live in it. It means you have to be present and hang out there a lot. So Hilltop is a neighborhood that I do the garage sale. My son goes to school there. So I interact with the parents in that neighborhood, and I go to the coffee shops after school in that neighborhood. So it's very organic for me to pick that neighborhood because I just spend so much time there. And I think that's a good place to start.
Yeah, 100%. I'm lazy, right? If I got to go show a house in Parker, which is like 50 minutes away without traffic, I'll go do it. But I would rather show houses in my neighborhood where I live, right? So that's just why I chose Arvada, because I actually live in Arvada. I grew up right in Westminster. So those are my two main markets that I focus on, because if I'm going to generate leads organically, I'd rather be close to home so I can go show 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 houses or whatever. And it doesn't have to take me all day to do it. And plus I know it, right? Like, I know where the good trails are. I know where the good lakes are. I know where all the good stuff is, because I spent my entire life within this 15-mile radius of these two towns together. So when I get leads that come into here, I feel way more confident than going down to, let's say, Hilltop, right? I know of Hilltop, but I don't know Hilltop because I'm not down there all the time. And I think that it's easier, especially as a new agent. A lot of us, even though we went through school, and everybody who's got their license knows the school just tries to keep you out of jail or court. So you don't really have that confidence, and you get in front of your first real client, and you're kind of like shocked. And if you're in an area that you don't know and they're asking you questions that you can't answer, then their confidence for you drops. So being in your area and focusing on that is it helps with your confidence boost right out the beginning, because they start asking you questions. You're like, oh yeah, no, my favorite coffee shop is right down the road on Old Wads, and it's awesome. I know the owner. Like, go in there and tell them Adam sent you. They'll hook you up. Like, now you sound like the area expert. You sound confident. And if you're not confident, they're not confident. And this is how you start losing clients. So if you're brand new, start in your neighborhood is probably the best thing that you can do.
I love that. And to dig in a little deeper, Adam, because obviously you've made it clear content is imperative to establishing local authority, area pages, market updates, neighborhood insights. But back to that kind of solo agent, maybe even a newer agent or a smaller team, juggling showings and contracts and just feeling overwhelmed. What do you feel like is the most realistic or viable starting point?
Yeah, content creation is huge because we're an online society now. I mean, it definitely doesn't discount getting out in front of people, because that's where the magic's made as well. But a lot of people in their discovery phases are online. So YouTube is a huge thing for me, right? I want to be on YouTube and I want to be talking about anything and everything Arvada as much as possible, because then when those people that are in the discovery phases start to search online, which for those of you that don't know, YouTube is literally a video version of Google search. So they go on there and they search, hey, I'm moving to Arvada. And all of a sudden your video pops up talking about, La Vicia Dolce, the coffee shop down the road, and, all the different restaurants and stuff like that. And it's so funny to me because I get a lot of kickback from realtors that are like, Adam, you're in real estate, so why are you interviewing a restaurant? Why are you talking about trails? Why do you have videos of you and your family walking down the trails in Arvada and talking about that? And it's like, because nobody, I'm going to be brutally honest here, nobody cares about your listings. Nobody cares that you just closed a deal. Like, that's just agent ego bragging, right? What they want to know is why Arvada is my number one choice for raising a family in the Denver metro area. They want to know why that is. And that is where we become the local area advisor. So I'll be putting content online about everything and just tying it back into real estate. So you guys see the guitars in the background. I was a former touring musician. I won Best Band in Denver 2 years in a row. We played with all the big bands and stuff. So I will do show promotion. I'll tell people, hey man, if you're a metalhead and you're looking for a good show, like, you got to go down here and check this out. The Arvada Center's got these 3 bands playing this weekend. It's absolutely epic. Oh, and by the way, if you're into the metal scene and you really like the idea of being able to walk to a venue, Arvada is perfect. I can help you find the perfect spot. Hit me up here. So people will land on my channel looking for more Arvada related material. And then you just toss in there that you're a realtor. So it's not that cringy, oh, I just did 20 deals this year, or, oh, here's the market update. You do some of that stuff, but the majority of what you need to be doing is educating and informing buyers on why your neighborhood is a good fit for them.
Totally. It is what people want to hear. I couldn't agree with you more. And all of this and all of the strategy that you've given, I feel like I was taking notes when we had originally chatted about the topic. And it feels like Lofty is a great tool to be able to achieve all of this. So Tyler, specific question for you. What do you see agents consistently underestimate about neighborhood specialization, and what separates those who are successful from those who are not?
I think Adam brings up a perfect point on this specifically. Is everybody out there watching this, let me ask, do you think Arvada is just some area that Adam works, or do you have confidence based on this little snippet here that he is more understanding and immersed in that specific neighborhood than the average agent? And that's what typically gets underestimated, is in neighborhood specialization. It's not, I work this area. It's the agents who win and don't have the biggest budget or necessarily the most advanced technology. They're the ones who are consistent with the simple things. They know the area. They're immersed in it. When a buyer talks to them, there's stories specific to that particular neighborhood. They don't say, I work in Scottsdale or I work in all of Phoenix and I'm too broad. I mean, its typical application would be, open a note on your phone. Write the name of one neighborhood at the top. Under it, write 10 real questions that buyers and sellers would ask you about that area. And each question becomes a future post or some content for you, a video that you can deploy, a conversation starter to the point of meeting an owner of a coffee shop as an example. And I think the second thing is actually applying it to a local post is what I'd say, local proof post. So something like one thing buyers should know about this particular neighborhood, in Adam's case, Arvada, right now is that homes under $800,000 are moving quickly if they're updated, but anything overpriced is sitting longer than sellers expect. Like, see what resonates with the niche community that you're trying to resonate with. And I think the agents who win hyperlocal are not just those that know the neighborhood, but they're proving it every week and are being useful and are specific almost to a fault. And just, yeah, I would want to buy from somebody that just is totally immersed in a particular neighborhood. And I can ask any question to and have a high degree of confidence that that question is going to get answered, because they're just in the specific neighborhood and know all the intricacies behind it, rather than, to Adam's point, have sold a couple homes in it.
Yeah. And to your point, especially because we're talking about AI and things, it's like, yes, I can go on if I decided right now that I'm going to go on a trip weekend with my family to one of these neighborhoods, I can go on to any type of AI and ask them what should I do, but I would so much rather talk to one of you guys about that. So that's becoming more and more important, and it's more valuable for people. And I couldn't agree more, Adam, on just the just solds and, just listed in that surface kind of where people are craving content that's not enough. So Adam, if you and Mark could both kind of answer this one, but to dig into that, every listing is a storytelling opportunity, obviously, but most agents kind of stop at that, description and the photos. What do you do that turns a listing into a multi-channel content machine and helps establish yourself as that local go-to agent?
Yeah, I do a ton of different things. I think every listing should be a blog. And that blog should be posted all over the place. It should be all linking back to your website, but it should be posted on LinkedIn. It should be posted on Facebook. You should do video, a vlog of it as well. You should do property tours of it, right? And this is also an easier way to get the listing as well. Most agents do what I call the 3 Ps, right? They put a sign in the yard, they put the home in the MLS, and they pray for somebody to go see it. And that's it. That's usually where it stops. Like, if you go into your listing and you're like, hey, if you agree to this listing contract today, here's the things that I'm going to do for you. We're going to run ads all over social media. I'm going to do a blog on it. I'm going to do a video tour. So as soon as we get this house staged up and ready to rock, I'm going to come in with my film crew. We're going to do an awesome video. It's going to go all over. It's going to be on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And we're going to start driving traffic to your house on that. And we're going to treat this like it's an actual business and not just hope that we can get it sold, because the market's not what it was 10 years ago, right? Or even 5 years ago. Like, if you don't advertise a listing, it's not going to work. So having that additional stuff to put online. Now, think about that as well. If you've got all of this other Arvada area material on there, you're interviewing restaurants, you're talking about trails, and then you get this beautiful listing, over in Ralston Valley, and you've got the video on that too. That helps the channel. That helps the client get more confidence in you. And my favorite part, I don't want to divert too much, but Lofty is one of the big players in all of this, because Lofty's website is way more functional than a typical CRM's website. So a lot of us might be on, I'll name names here because I'm not afraid, but a lot of them might be on Commissions Inc., or we might be over here on Follow Up Boss. These guys don't have websites attached to it. And when you do attach a website to it, your editing possibilities are very limited. With Lofty, I can do a multitude of things. I can feature the listing as the #1 listing to show up on my page. I can embed that YouTube video to that listing. I can create custom landing pages for that listing through Lofty. And the favorite part is we can tie it into our featured areas. So with Lofty, we can actually go in to the website editor and you can create a featured area based on a neighborhood. It'll map that out. Lofty takes care of all the back-end SEO on it. So then you can market that. And the more featured areas and neighborhoods that you end up putting on your Lofty, the more likely your Lofty website is going to be showing up on these AI results and on the Google results and all this other stuff. So when you do the content creation and you team it up with something as powerful as Lofty, like, the game is yours. The game is literally yours. There's no other excuse.
And I just want to chime in and, what Tyler said earlier about, putting out your content and being, regardless of real estate, is really important. I have the Denver Ear, and it's basically just a lifestyle blog about neighborhoods in Denver and things to do. It doesn't have anything about real estate publicly, but in every post that I write about a neighborhood, I will have a little tagline in that article that also tells people I also have a listing in this neighborhood, and here is the link for the listing if you're interested. So it's hidden, it's not too public. And also I want for you all to consider how you're marketing and promoting your open houses. You know, what's going to bring buyers more? Open house today from 1 to 3. Or what if we say an afternoon with music and bites? What if you focus on what you're providing at the open house rather than the open house itself? If you put it on Evite rather than just try to get open houses, and you make it a small event, and you focus on what you're providing during that open house and make that the focus in the title, you're going to see a lot more attendance than you would from just a regular open house.
I love that. Digging into the lifestyle, because you guys were all talking about lifestyle content, digging into the lifestyle of the neighborhood. If you were to live in that home, you know, we try if something's waterfront. Are we doing a boating event? Like, what are you doing, right? That somebody might be in that realm and want to partake in. So that's awesome. Adam, digging in a little bit, because we talked about you have a listing, right? Like, what's the content machine around it? For any agents in the audience who don't have any active listings, the instinct maybe to go radio silent on social media. And I know obviously that's counterintuitive. How do you stay visible and keep generating leads when you don't have anything on the market?
Yeah, it goes right back to that lifestyle stuff. I want everybody who's listening to this right now that's been posting real estate content on your personal Facebook page to go audit your page. All right. I want you to compare your personal post versus your business post, and then find out which one has more likes and engagement. I already know the answer to it, and you probably do as well. It's your personal stuff, right? Now, another thing I want to challenge you with is, when was the last time you got a listing because of the brokerage you worked at? I'm not going to be talking about brokerage provided leads, but you go into somebody's house and you start talking to them and showing them your process. And they're like, hey, Adam, I'm going to work with you because you're at EXP Realty. Like, it's never happened, right? And I've been at 10 brokerages since 2017. So trust me, I've tested the waters on this, right? No one's ever like, Adam, you're with Remax, so I trust you, right? No, they want to work with me because of me, right? So we need to start exposing people to your true personalities. I think one of the biggest flaws that we see in real estate, especially starting out, I was a victim of this as well. I shaved my beard. I tried to grow out what little hair I had left. I put a suit on and I started pretending to be the corporate version of Adam. And I struggled. No one really related to it. Why? Because you could tell I wasn't being authentic. You could tell I was trying to get a deal. I was trying to fit into a mold that wasn't me. Now I show up to a listing presentation in a Goonies shirt and jeans and tennis shoes, but I know my stuff, and people will work with me because of my personality. So if you're sitting here right now and you've got no listings, you've got no buyer leads, the number one thing that you need to do is get a CRM. First and foremost, that's the heartbeat of my business. I built my entire business off of online lead gen going into the Lofty CRM. It used to be called Chime. But that is the biggest thing. And then you put that content out there and you drive people to the CRM, where you can then nurture them into a conversation. And then you get in person with them in that conversation and let them know the real you. But if you're not being your genuine self throughout that process, at one point in time, they're going to meet the real you, and it's going to be weird. So don't be afraid to be yourself. Like, if you're like me, like, I'm a rock and roll dude. I call myself the no BS realtor. I actually spell it out, but I won't say it on the podcast. But that's what I go by. You know, I'll walk into a listing presentation and I'll drop the F-bomb straight out the gate. And if they don't like it, then that's what I don't think I want to work with you either, right? We're going to be hanging out. We're going to be around each other. And I want you to know who I really am. And the one thing that I learned with that is that when I grew my beard back and I started just being myself, but I know how to do real estate, not only am I more confident in front of my clients, but my clients are more confident in me. And most of my clients that come in online end up becoming my friends, because they want to work with somebody that they can align with, that they can relate to. And that was a very hard lesson that it took me a couple of years to learn. And, you know, if you're in that position, just be yourself, dude. That's all you can do.
Yeah. And that's where this all started, right? Just stop trying to cast such a wide net and focus in whether it's hyperlocal market or just in who you are. So I love that. That's a great message to give to everyone. Tyler, just to tap you on this one, there is a growing conversation around AEO, answer engine optimization, or most recently generative engine optimization, GEO, and showing up on Google searches. And showing up on Google search is no longer enough. What are you doing to ensure that you are the agent whose content is being generated on platforms like ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude? And how do agents even begin with that? Most people probably don't know what any of those acronyms are right now.
Yeah. The main premise behind this is, are people using AI to find local experts in the real estate game? first and foremost, if you want to master this, you have to first believe it philosophically, right? I found my girlfriend's listing agent on ChatGPT. I'm just going to throw it out there. Why? Because I was able to ask full questions. I didn't want to just type in North Phoenix listing agents and run through a whole list and my eyes cross based on seeing the roster's worth of agents, right? Or go through MLS data. I'm not doing that. I'm asking questions like, who is the expert in North Phoenix to ensure my girlfriend's listing doesn't stay on market for more than 45 days, that she gets asking price or more, and knows the area really well and can start to farm out for buyers for this particular listing, right? That's the reality of where we're at currently, not tomorrow, not in 5 years, right now. And you have to believe that and make a strategy around that right now, or else you're going to fall behind. But the great thing is it's green pasture moving forward. So I just keep this really simple. People aren't searching keywords. They're asking full questions. Is this a good neighborhood for my family? What should I know before moving here? What does $900,000 buy me here? What's the lifestyle like? Right? And agents don't need to be AI experts. You don't need to be an expert in AI. You just don't. Right? Generic copy like trusted local expert is not going to get you there, though. But you have to be able to index through these platforms that people are searching for real estate professionals specific answers to the questions that they might be asking. So just practically start with questions your buyers and sellers already ask you every day. Use those exact questions as titles for posts, videos. Adam brought up a great amount of channels that you should be leveraging, and then make the answer plain English. What is happening? Why does it matter? And what should somebody consider next? So create one FAQ or blog post, Adam's point there, 10 things buyers should know before moving to Arvada, right? Use question-based titles. Is Arvada still a good place to buy? Right? Post the same answer, though, in 4 or 5 different places: your website, a blog post, short video on YouTube, email, and your Google business profile. And just don't overcomplicate AI search. Just start by answering the questions your buyers might ask and sellers would want to know every day.
Awesome. So just kind of
Well, I want to jump in and say you don't have to have a lot of money to do this. I followed Anthony Lamacchia, and he just has it in his car. He just puts his video on before he drives. He's got his seatbelt on. He just talks to the camera, and it's interesting. It works. He gets a lot of views. So you don't have to start creating some big production to do these things. You just have to turn and flip your phone on.
Sure, for sure. And just kind of reiterating for Tyler, and then allowing both Moore and Adam, if you'd like to add anything. Obviously, Tyler just said the large platforms and portals, they can sometimes struggle to answer these specific questions, like, is the neighborhood coming up, or what neighborhoods feed into this high school, or how long is the commute? How do you guys really create content that will answer those questions, and then where should it live to get picked up by these AI engines?
That's really in the AEO side of it, right? So answers engine optimization is providing answers to what people are searching. So I'm a huge AI user. So I'll go to Google Gemini and I'll go into deep research mode, and I'll do deep research for the 50 most commonly asked questions for first-time home buyers in the city of Arvada, Colorado. And it will actually scrape the web for that information. And then I'll get those questions. That's 50 pieces of content. And each one of those questions is more than just one piece of content. It's a blog, it's a post, it's a short form, it's a long form video on YouTube, right? So then I have that with an average of 4 pieces of content for each 50. Well, guess what? Now I've got 200 pieces of content that I just created, or that I just got ideas to be able to create in less than 10 minutes. And then that goes everywhere. And I'm going to brag on Lofty again here, because guess what? Lofty their AI handles the back end. They index automatically through Google. So if you are on a WordPress site and you have to go to your Google, your Google Ads or Tag Manager and push your indexing through, Lofty indexes your IDX feed. They have they have a prioritized indexing. So if you don't want to index the whole the MLS, you could just index your area, and then that leaves the additional queue or quota of indexing for your blogs. So if we think about the way that this can be set up, you're putting out all this content on all these different channels, pushing back to your website, and also hosting the content on your website. Like now you're in more areas than one, answering that same question in a consistent manner. And that's exactly what these AI models do. They are trained to go out and find the answers to the people's questions. And this is, like Tyler said, this is still green pasture. Yes, people know about it, but most people don't know how to go about it. And it's so much more simpler than people make it out to be. You just need to answer the questions that people are asking and put it out everywhere and continuously do it. I drill down in and I'll look even deeper than just Arvada. I'll say, what are the 50 top most commonly asked questions for a downsizer looking to move out of the Lake Arbor neighborhood, right? We got a lot of big, family homes, single family homes over there that are 3,000 square foot plus. And the boomers, I'm going to use that trigger word, but the boomers are downsizing right now. And they're asking questions about where they can go and how is the proper way to downsize. And if I have 200 pieces of content online about downsizing out of Lake Arbor, who do you think the AI is going to find, right? It's going to see me as the authority because I'm so content heavy with it. And that's exactly how you end up linked on that AI response. And it costs $0 to do this. Like Moore said, the more produced you are, the more fake you become, the less people resonate with it. We're seeing studies in social media right now that people are engaging and resonating with live, raw content over heavily produced and edited content. So don't be afraid to jump in your car and drive down the road. Be safe doing it and just talk a little bit about what you're doing, because that stuff actually works and it costs $0 to do it.
It also costs $0 to go on Facebook groups of your neighborhood or neighborhoods you want to sell in. And you have lots of people that ask specific questions about the neighborhood in the Facebook group, and take time as part of your time blocking to literally answer the question in those groups. So, and then also, if you can mention, don't push it too much, but let people know that you are a realtor. I did get some leads from that. So Facebook groups, next door is a great place to answer questions and find questions. Quora, Reddit, those are platforms that you can literally answer questions directly to customers today.
I love
Reddit's huge, by the way. If for those of you that don't know, Reddit is huge. Reddit has the second largest Q&A database next to Google, and it's quickly getting ready to surpass Google. And another thing with Reddit is they can hype those answers up. People can upvote those answers, and then those just climb to the top. And if you guys have ever searched Google recently and you've watched the results come by, Reddit's usually one of the top listed next to LinkedIn. So doing exactly what Moore said is perfect. The only thing I would add to it is go answer that question in the group, go answer that question on Reddit, and then go blog on it, and then go make video content on it and paste it all over the place and just cover all angles. And I promise you'll get leads from ChatGPT and Claude and Gemini and all of those.
I love all of this. So kind of pivoting, because I feel like this is something that's probably in the back of some people's minds, is this all sounds really good and organic, of course. People worry that with automation and AI, they could come across cold, impersonable, or, potentially damage the relationships they have with their clients. What's that key that you guys find, to balancing technology and that human touch?
Yeah, you got to personalize it. Go ahead, Moore. Sorry.
No, we're on the same team on this. If AI is reaching out to your clients, you're doing it wrong, is my answer. You need to reach out to your clients, and AI needs to be the tool to let you answer questions eloquently and also give you maybe some data, but do not let the AI interact directly with your clients.
Yeah,
No AI.
oh, sorry. Sorry.
No,
Keep
I was agreeing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, she's exactly right. I have the comparison that I make on it is like, if you owned a restaurant and you wanted to grow that restaurant to be popular, you wouldn't just sit in the kitchen and cook all day and let somebody else run the front of it. That's not the way that you grow it. It's a relationship business, like we are here in real estate. So AI's purpose for us in real estate is to dramatically reduce the amount of time and create a more efficient process to building out the administrative back end of our business, which then frees you up to be there in the front of the restaurant, building the relationships, being there more for your client. Anybody who's listening to this right now that's doing deals probably knows that the biggest bog in your business is back end admin work, right? It's creating the nurture plans and all this stuff. So I get a lot of people that come into my from my YouTube channel, and they want to say, hey, Adam, should I use this voice AI? Should I use this chat bot? And I'm like, no, you should not use that. But you could use AI to generate the messaging in a faster, more efficient manner that knows how to avoid spam language and knows how to, speak a little bit clear without babbling like I do all the time. And then you could put that in the form of automations. And we use this to initiate a response from the client. When the client responds, if you expect your AI to respond back and start building that relationship, you are going to suffer in the end of it. You need to step in as the human in the loop. I call this augmented, right? It's augmented intelligence. The AI can create the content very quickly for us. The AI can help us with the administrative backend and take time-consuming tasks and greatly reduce those. And then you jump in as the human in the loop. The moment you get a response from a lead, your AI should be off and you should be on. And that is the only way to make it work, because the general public's perception of AI is overwhelmingly negative. I know if you guys have been on Facebook lately, you see all the data center stuff going on, and everybody's like, AI is going to kill us all, and we're all our lives, it's going to take all our jobs. It's like, no, probably not at this given moment. But if you're in a relationship business like real estate, don't get lazy and think your AI is going to be able to create that relationship, because it's not.
100%. So, Tyler, digging in a little bit, because we haven't heard as much from you. When you're evaluating an agent or a team's current setup, what are the most common hyperlocal gaps you see? What's the first thing you would fix?
I find that most of the clients I work with have all this hyper local knowledge and it's all in their head and they don't have it out there, and their content is generic relative to what is in their head and how good they are at knowing their local markets that they service. So the first thing is, don't automate through AI unless you've harnessed it with what the information is in your head, audited it to make sure it can be deployed with valuable content that's from your head so that it can actually resonate with your niche community that you're trying to target, is the application there. I mean, it's not in random text messages. It's not in, it's to be deployed in conversations through relationships like we're talking about. And so, all agents have a database, whether it's actually living in a system like a Lofty, for example, but it's not really segmented in a useful way. So you could have hundreds, maybe thousands of contacts in your database, but you don't know who lives in which neighborhood are they looking to buy in, if they've ever asked about a certain school, right? That's the use case for AI, is organizing your database and leveraging your mind to capitalize on your database through value that's going to be specific to that database, right? So the first thing you should fix is start by organizing your database, or having a system in place like Lofty where you can focus on tagging around specific neighborhoods that matter the most. I mean, start simple, even if it has to be an Excel sheet that goes into a database at some point, a system at some point, but just create columns or tags like neighborhood, buyer, seller, homeowner. Here's the price range. Here's the last conversation they were interested in, even if it's about the best coffee shop in the particular area. And then, pick your top 50 contacts and just organize them by the neighborhood. Don't try to clean up your entire database at once, but focus on the people that you can basically fill out the entire picture, and then inform the AI exactly your knowledge that you have, feed it more, and then the content that's being put out that's more consistent than you would be able to do manually, or to reach more people with external content than you would be able to do manually, will start to resonate more with the community that you're trying to target. And then one other thing I'd say is just send one neighborhood specific message instead of a generic blast. I see this still to this day, is that agents love still to mass email 5,000 people and just shotgun approach, hope that one person comes back, and they're using generic content, knowing that, because they're scared if they go too specific, it's going to alienate too many people and they're going to get too many unsubscribes. Well, that strategy is going to generate unsubscribes no matter what. So the objective is, if you know your database, if you tag them specific to neighborhoods and specific things that matter to them the most, then you can create specific neighborhood specific messages and have confidence that if you deploy those messages, then you'll get response back on those. A lot of this stuff is already built natively into the Lofty platform. So the ability for Lofty to do this on autopilot for you, and for you to trust the nature of what content gets built on your behalf, for it to have AEO content as far as answer engine, a strategy already deployed within the platform that makes it super easy for you to click a button and for that content to go out, and for you to have peace of mind knowing, okay, I didn't have to be an AI strategist to click a button and be hyper local and know that the content that's being generated is really helping me if somebody searches ChatGPT in my area that I'm focused in, and then I'll be a response there. We have now what's called agentic AI. It's a new technology. Basically, what it means, what I've come to, because agentic and agent, it's confusing with real estate agent. I've started calling them digital employees. So it's as if you hired somebody, for example, our social media agent. We have one of those that can deploy content on your behalf, and it's not just content. I get, we see so many auto posts, for example, that go out that are cringy, that don't get any engagement. That AI social agent that Lofty now includes, for example, that is enriching the content posts with SEO and AEO on your behalf, will be pulled from indexing on looking at your competitors who are really capitalizing well and are great social media influencers in the prop tech space, and building content around who's doing it effectively so that it can replicate it for you. So just a lot of cutting corners that make things really easy for you to just deploy and set and have confidence that it will return the results that you come to expect, so you can produce more and you don't have to solve for strategy, for example. So, I work with agents all the time that just come to me and go, I'm overwhelmed. Their AI is just overwhelming me. I know I need to do something about it, but I don't know what that first step is. Well, if we can give you a platform that out of the box is already built with that, and you can just police it as far as what messages go out, you can edit, you can make sure it's the content that resonates with the community that you're trying to target, and you can just set it and know that automations are going to bring you back appointments. That's what Lofty is. It kind of takes the muddy waters and makes it clear for you to understand it, grasp it, and then be ahead of the curve from the agents who just aren't even there philosophically that AI is here and it's a strategy that you have to deploy.
I love it so much because I do think it's what's needed to look into the future and to stay relevant. And it's, people do, we said it at the beginning, everyone's time and days are so full and they're like, how am I going to take this on? And really there's your answer. You can take that all on with this tool. Thank you so much. So just to kind of wrap us up, a couple more questions, but like I said, we just talked about the specific tool, and obviously people are becoming more and more, I don't know if it's just aware or maybe a little bit of skepticism around automated outreach. How are you all maintaining trust, really, is what it all boils down to at this point, given all of the tools that that we are using day to day?
Pick up the phone and call your clients.
Yes, what she said. I'm a highly automated person. I'm a huge proponent of artificial intelligence and the utilization of artificial intelligence, but it can't be just out of the box, because it doesn't know you. It doesn't know how you speak. It doesn't know where you live. It doesn't know what your business is. It doesn't know your sales style. It doesn't know your goals. It doesn't know your stories. So when I started using AI way back in the day, you guys, I'm going to date myself here, but I've been programming automations and robots, automatic robots, since 2004 on MySpace. And when generative intelligence became a thing in 2015, I realized really quickly that with things like ChatGPT, you can actually clone yourself into it. So where most people are very worried about AI generated content ruining their relationships, what they very much so should be, you want to go through the process to clone yourself into AI, and then we can automate. So a lot of people don't realize that there's a major definitive difference between automation and artificial intelligence. Okay. Automation is a certain set of steps that a program will take based on how I programmed it. It cannot change, it cannot deviate, and it cannot correct itself unless I go in and manually change the programming or manually change the automation. Artificial intelligence is different, where it can, on the fly, make up a different choice. It can create a different outcome. It can take a different path. And that's where it gets dangerous if you just want an AI bot to go loose on your clients. Next thing you know, it thinks it's negotiating a deal for you to get a listing, and it offers a 2% listing fee to the agent, to the client. Now you got to go back and be like, wait, no, that wasn't right. That was my AI. Whoops. So I use my clone to create the messaging, to build the automations. So I still know, even though the majority of my business, guys, I'm a huge Lofty user, and the only thing I have to do in Lofty is go make calls. I don't worry about emails or texts being sent out. I don't worry about holiday cards, property alerts, market snapshots, market reports, any of that. It's all automated to go out automatically because I built my systems and turned the automations on. And when somebody raises their hands from those automations, I jump in as the human loop and make the call. So automating is not the enemy. Generic automating is the enemy. So if you can personalize your artificial intelligence to create the messaging that goes into the automations, you have a recipe for success. I'm primarily a coach, so I'm not bragging about my deals, but I did 8 deals last year. I made 0 phone calls. I worked less than 60 hours on all 8 of those deals because of the automation systems and the capabilities of what happens inside of Lofty. So if I'm doing that while I spend 95% of my time coaching agents on AI and Lofty, and I can still do 8 transactions, imagine what you can do as a full-time agent with a fully automated system in the back end. You can be more present for your clients. You can be out there to create new relationships and nurture the ones that already exist without being bogged down on all that other stuff.
Yes, yeah, I love that. Essentially, you're marrying the two, right? I think people always think they have to be using technology, or sometimes I think, especially in recent history, it was like we need to use technology to be relevant, and now it's like people really value both. To your point, let's use the technology and the tools that we have to free up that time. I mentioned the last time we talked that we had a big closing, like over $20 million, and someone in our accounting team hand delivered the check. And it's like, yes, there's tools that we could use for that. And yes, there's plenty of technology, but it was that moment's made possible when you're efficient, right? When your systems are in place, to your point, when you can reach outside of it. So I feel like you're all clearly, that's why you're here doing such a wonderful job of saying, I can have everything running very efficiently, and then I can reach out and touch my client, and I can be personal when I need to be, more so than you could be if you weren't using the tools to be efficient. So I think you've just all figured out how to marry that, very nicely. So with that, I'd love to hear from everybody. Just, any agent that's still listening here, what is one thing you think that people should take away? Just one thing they could do to strengthen their hyperlocal presence.
I'm going to say make connections with your community. Next time you go to the coffee shop in your neighborhood, go ask for who the manager is, introduce yourself, tell them that you want to, help each other's businesses, that you're a local realtor, offer to host some event with him or her, and make that extra step to introduce yourself to local business owners and community members.
I love that.
Yeah. Leverage your industry contacts. One of my good buddies, his name's Jeremy. He's kind of the opposite of me. I'm really online and tech guy, and he's just like, he still does 50 deals a year on average. And he always brags to me. He's like, Adam, I never paid for a single lead. Like, I don't run ads. And that's his big things, is he's out in the community. He's helping build other people's business. I think there's opportunity here outside of the technological realm where you can go help people. Like, he will literally get online onto Facebook and start DMing people that he has in his friends group, and he will look to see what they're doing with their lives. So somebody just started an HVAC business. Well, guess what? We can help them grow that business. And then the law of reciprocity comes into place, right? If I send you 5 clients over the next month that need an HVAC certification, and you are just looking for clients for your new HVAC business, who do you think is going to recommend to their friend when they're looking for a realtor? Right? They're going to recommend me because that's the kind of help that I'm giving. So when you're leveraging industry connections like Moore's talking about there, it's a huge, huge play for organic lead gen.
I love that. And that's a great why. That's something that makes people feel good, right? You can wake up in the morning and say, what do I need to do today? And I need to help people. Like, great, right? So after all this talk about things that might be overwhelming, how am I going to tackle this? How am I going to learn this tool? Like, it all really boils down to the same basics, and being helpful and human and out in your community. So I'm so grateful for this conversation. I've learned so much from all of you. And very grateful to RISMedia for having us all, and to Lofty.
I want to start off by saying that what I really love about this webinar, apart from the great content, is the interactions I have with realtors around the nation after it's finished. So I really would love to connect with the brokers that are listening in. My Instagram is my name, More Zucker, and I also give referral commissions. So if you ever have someone moving to Denver, as well as the other way around. So reach out to me and let's make some great connections.
Yeah. My send off to you guys is, if every day you just focus on taking one step forward in your business, then you cannot fail at it. All right. And as newer agents or as struggling agents, it can feel like you just have to give up. But if you just take one step forward every single day, you will be successful with it. And you need those systems in place. So I'm super glad that I was able to be a part of this, being sponsored by Lofty, because I am a huge Lofty user. Guys, the CRM is non-negotiable anymore. We're no longer in the area where you could just walk outside your door and be like, I'm in real estate and somebody wants to buy or sell a house. You need the systems in place, and there is nothing better. And I'm not being paid to say this. I'm not an employee of Lofty. I'm just an avid Lofty user, and it's changed my life. It's changed my business. And I do teach on Lofty right now. It is a comprehensive program, but it is not as hard as you think. So if you guys ever want to see any awesome free content on Lofty, just Google Lofty CRM, and I will be the first video that pops up on there. I show a bunch of different tutorials on how to use the program, so that way you can make good decisions. And then I'm sure Tyler had that QR code up here in a bit where you can go ahead and schedule a consultation call and find out that Lofty is right for you. So,
Tyler, did you want to send us home?
The best use case for AI is to help you all stay organized around having a personal touch. It's hard at scale to have hundreds, if not thousands, of people in your database that you have to do a lot of guesswork for for 90% of them, what their situation is, what they care about, are they homeowners, are they worried about downsizing, all of those things. If AI and a good strong tool can do the legwork on that for you, and it has enough channels to be able to eliminate a lot of the guesswork through social media, through landing pages, through open house QR codes, through website, that's Lofty. It's all integrated. It's all one ecosystem. And now it has digital employees that do a lot of the legwork for you that you can treat like an employee, that you audit, that you police. So you make sure the right content goes out there, but you are all experts in your local market. It's hard for you to stay organized around everybody's situation. And so this is the bridge that can unlock you offering all of it's in your head for Hyperlocal and the database's situation so that you can provide that personalized touch. I would just say Lofty's on a 3 to 4 week onboarding schedule right now. We're pushed back based on huge demand. So if you do come in now, you can get in the next few weeks. So if you are interested, Adam, myself, our team is awesome. They've all been here for 5+ years, excuse me. We're willing to help, listen to your situation, make recommendations, and just overall act like a consult for you, specific to your situation. So thank you for the time today. And yeah, I'd really appreciate this. This was great.
Okay, thank you all so much. This was so informative. I'm so grateful to have been on with all of you. Thank you to RISMedia and to Lofty for the opportunity and for all this great information. A video replay of the webinar will be available shortly, as you can see on the slides. Keep an eye on your email for that link. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Tyler.
Yeah. Thank you.